It's happening. We did it. We made it. We are live. We have prepared for this as poorly as possible.
Hmm. I mean, if you count our entire lives leading up to this point, I don't think that I would agree with that statement.
Fair. Fair. My contribution to Orb Talk is this golf ball I found. I found a much cooler blue one today while playing golf. And I gave it to my son, so I don't have a cool blue golf orb. But I did find this really generic and common Top Flight 4 golf ball. That's what I'm bringing to Orb Chat, and once again, back with a classic. It's going to be tough to beat.
Like you can't understand the weight of this thing. All right,
It looks
it's
heavy when I see it slide down in your palms like that.
it's so heavy.
It has, yeah, some heft, it looks like. Yeah, that's not. Oh, I did not know it was magnetic to the base. That's a nice touch.
Yeah,
Well, Sean, I
Sean.
uh, I would like to begin with a couple of ground rules.
Okay.
First, I think everything that we're going to talk about is okay to say, but because I don't have permission, we will omit any people's names and the official name of the organization with which we are hoping to work.
Hmm.
The industry, the process, everything else is fine. I think there will be a day where we can share this information, but I would hate to misrepresent it in some way now and link it to that name. And so everything that we're going to talk about is real, except for the names have been made up to protect the innocent.
Yeah,
So we can call
it's
it,
not Hustler,
it's, well, let's not say what it's not, because I think then we sort of, people start to be like, why would you say it's not Hustler if it's
but
Hustler?
it isn't Hustler.
It isn't Hustler.
Yeah. Okay.
But what I wanted to do is I've been, let's bring people up to speed. We got a call from a connection from my past who is tasked with creating some marketing videos. And we'll skip the three more tutorial style ones. What we're focusing on this evening is there's two videos that they want to make that serve a marketing purpose that will be sent to potential customers at an opportune moment, and what we'll call warm leads and cold leads for the company. And the big issue here is that our client will be one of many peppering the potential customer with marketing materials. So it's going to be noisy. It's going to be a very noisy experience for the client, and we need to figure out how to cut through that noise. But the other challenge here is that this company is doing things inherently different than any other company in a way that has a very tangible benefit to the customer, but it's really difficult to get that message across when the competition is everyone else saying we specialize in customer service, we have your best needs and interests in heart. And so what can we say that will keep someone's interest long enough that they can understand why our client is the right choice from this noisy industry for their home? Am I summarizing that properly? Do you feel okay with that?
Yeah. Well, I think it's also important to know that this isn't a specific um, task that has been completely strategized and thought out. You know, we're not charged with executing on a marketing strategy that's already in place.
Right.
Yeah.
We are being asked to pull on our expertise on what resonates with people, what messages come across well, and how to get the general message across in a way that won't fall on deaf ears,
Right.
so to speak. And so, yeah, we haven't done demographic research and what devices are people like. Like, we have a very slim customer profile here to work with, and that is not my expertise, admittedly, of knowing what's resonating with who. I'm not on social media anymore, and apparently, have you heard of TikTok? There's a whole thing now. No idea. So I'm going to pull up my notes. Oh, and the other sort of ground rule for us here is that I chose to attempt to do this on a live stream, which inherently changes things by the very nature of our interaction. But I want to do our best to, unless there's productive comments, to just sort of ignore the fact that we are streaming this live and really get to some places that we can feel comfortable.
Okay.
And so let me pull up my notes, which I
The
suppose
first thing that I would do in this situation I would read the email out loud without names. Do you think we can do that?
yes.
Okay, cool. You tell me when
Dear
you're ready.
Penta. Oh, not going to say the client. Do you like what I did there?
Yeah.
I made a blue joke.
Yeah.
Going to my potentials. Where is the, oh, here we go. Are you referring to the second email with the answers to the two questions?
Yes.
Okay. So we asked what makes them different. We asked the client what makes them different. What questions do people ask? And
Well, before that, we should probably even talk about how we got to that too.
well, go for it. Bring me up to
Okay,
speed.
so yeah, so basically what we did was we had this like opportunity where this person that was commissioning this project said, "Hey, I'm open to all kinds of creative ideas. Do whatever you want. I'm definitely down to take risks. The stuff that you would definitely dream about hearing from somebody commissioning a video project." And then we sat down and talked about it. And the more ideas we came up with, the more we realized that they aren't based in any type of motivation at all. Um, or it was just motivation that we were making up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really easy to do that because we had this kind of like, um, this green light to do all this stuff. And so the more we talked about it, the more we realized that like, this is probably a pretty, uh, the people that are looking at this type of content are in a situation where they're having to think about purchasing something, and they're probably not going to be in an excited mood like they're going to get a new mattress or a new shave kit. Like this is a different type of product. So
Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to
okay,
explain what the client is and what's happening.
okay, great.
So this is a company that comes in when there's storm damage and helps customers who have potentially damage on their roofs, siding, windows, gutters, file an insurance claim, and then if that claim gets approved and the homeowner gets money for it, this company will help find the people who are going to actually repair the roof, do the gutters, do the actual work, and they're going to see it through. And so the customer pays nothing. This is all paid for by the insurance company. What our client, what this company is doing is helping shepherd people through this process, and in there is some margin to make a profit. And I was surprised that that is not unique, that all of the other companies who are doing this are also free. So that's not a huge sales point of like, hey, and this whole thing's going to be free. Every other one of these companies in this space is free. They're going to use the insurance money to make it happen. Bless me. And so, what makes our client, our potential client, different is that their salespeople aren't truly salespeople, and they're not working on commission as most of not most as all of the others do. And so the incentive for someone else who's calling on you to say, "Hey, I can help you get your insurance company to file the claim and find you the right contractors." As soon as you say yes and they start the process, that salesperson is gone. They're looking for the next one because the more customers they can get, the better. By contrast, our client isn't paying these customer service people on commission, but rather paying them based on the customer satisfaction. So what they're doing differently is if you say yes and you work with them, they're going to see through the process. They're going to be there on the days where the insurance people are going to come. They're going to be there on the days that construction is being done to make sure that things are done properly and cleaned up, and it's the product that they said, and it's the right color shingles that you ordered, instead of somebody showing up and it's the wrong color and you trying to get a hold of the salesperson who's now in another city. So that's the big difference, which, as I say it aloud, makes a ton of sense. It seems like the obvious choice, but the true challenge here is, how do you get somebody who's having 10 companies say, hey, for free, we'll fix your roof? How do you stand out against the other 9 with one video that somebody has to opt into watching to say, listen to me, don't click away, listen for a second, because we're the right choice, and if you hang on, I'll explain why, and it'll make sense to you. But that is a very huge ask in unsolicited marketing.
Yeah, and the other thing about it is this isn't something where you win this customer over for life, because this is not like buying a car where you're going to go back to that dealer the next time you're ready to, get a new vehicle. It's something that may happen to you once, and you have to do this, and then you're done with it. So you're not like, ooh, who am I going to get in bed with this, because this is a big commitment. It's not even like car insurance, you know what I mean, where it's like, hey, this, I'm going to be with you for a long time. I need to make sure I can count on you. So it seems like this one-time transactional thing that comes out of nowhere based on storm damage, and then suddenly the customer has to be just as invested and concerned about this choice that's presented to them. So that being said, you and I were talking about, well, maybe they aren't really like shopping around trying to find the best person to do this. Maybe they just don't know how anything works at all. And they're going to respond more to the person that explains things the clearest to them. So, I think there's a few ways that they could stand out just based on our initial discussions. And one is SEO, which we're not responsible for at all. The other is just brand recognition, which that isn't going to work because this is a brand that is an umbrella over a bunch of smaller micro brands. So really the only thing that we could control is the actual conversation that people are having. So if we can give them the most relevant answers, or give them the most relevant questions that they themselves are asking, when they go online and ask that question, like, what do I do when blank, or is this legit, or whatever that question is, we want to have already thought through it. And not only do we have an answer for it, but we have a video explaining about it. So you and I talked about, it maybe makes sense for this particular product to do a video series or a single video that's based around the frequently asked questions of people that are in this situation. And that's kind of where we left it to start, brainstorming ideas.
Yeah. And so I think you had a fantastic idea. We reached out to them and asked what are the most frequently asked questions, and then furthermore, what questions aren't people asking that they should be asking. And we got what I think is a pretty powerful email where I kind of just wanted to take this whole thing and say, let's make this a video where someone says this, because this is powerful stuff. So I'm going to read the answer to number 2 that was sent to us, with the question being, what question should people be asking? The biggest concern is that this will cost them money beyond their insurance deductible. People have this idea that insurance will cover the cost of repairs, but will depreciate based on the age of product, when in fact 95% of policies have replacement cost coverage. So the insurance company pay 100% of the cost to replace the roof and or siding, and simply subtract out the deductible, leaving the homeowner responsible for that payment. Most people are also afraid that their insurance company will drop them or raise their rates. Both are extremely unlikely if it's a valid claim. Carriers won't raise your rates due to an act of God. With hail and wind, the homeowner is in no way liable and therefore won't be penalized. However, if enough claims are filed in that zip code, everyone will likely receive a standard annual increase whether they file a claim or not. I thought that was interesting. And then lastly, people often write this off as a scam. If I could scam the insurance company, I'd be living on my own island. We simply show them that they have enough damage that warrants filing a claim. It's the carriers that say they are willing to pay for it. We meet the adjusters at the property to show them our findings, and if there's nothing to show them, that's an embarrassing moment for us, and we lose all credibility for future claims with that carrier. Most people don't believe they have damage. Hail damage to shingles is impossible to see from the ground, and it doesn't cost the homeowner anything to have us inspect it. If we do find damage, we take pictures to show them what we're looking at. So
good. Oh, go ahead.
As a homeowner, I've never had storm damage that required this. And so
that you know of.
I had somebody inspect my roof and repair my roof a couple weeks ago. But it was because my roof is getting older, like many of us. And so this concept of like, I didn't know that my insurance rates are going to go up if there's a storm and a bunch of people file claims, whether or not I'm one of them. That was news to me. That's new information, useful information. If that was a sticking point of like, well, I don't want to file a claim. Because it's that way with car insurance. Like if you get a little fender bender, it's like, do you report this? Because they're just going to raise my rates. Like, is this something, is it big enough that you want to file a claim? But I guess this would be akin to if you get in a small accident and they raise your car insurance rates regardless of whether or not you have them fix it. That's what's happening here. So we have a living document here where we're compiling our ideas and stuff. And so this week we're going to approach them with some ideas about how this could be handled. And the big problem for me as the producer here, in this project, that Sean is working as the director, and this Sean is working as the producer. And so I'm thinking about the logistical elements of this, how to efficiently film this, and sort of what it looks like a little bit. And that's the big thing of like, let's say that information that we just went through, 2 videos, FAQ of like, if I work with you, are my insurance rates going to go up? Or if I work with you, am I going to be responsible for more than the deductible? Let's say those are 2 videos answering 2 questions. What I'm struggling with is, what does that look like? Is that a person explaining it? Is it a animated infographic of something? Is it a dramatization of you see somebody outside and, oh no, help me, my roof? Like, what should this look like? Or do we go with voiceover and try all 3 and put just text on the screen? Like, that's what we're trying to get to in this conversation is, when we know what information we want to present, how do we create videos that present that information in a way that people will actually sit through and absorb?
Yeah, and I think the first objective would be what are those questions? And then from there we can decide, okay, what's the most impactful way to explain this or to portray this. Um, and I personally would never try to figure out how to present it before knowing what the subject is specifically. So
And
until we get those FAQs or those specific things that we agree with the client, that we say, yes, this is what we want to accomplish in this marketing, then we don't even start trying to figure out the method or how that's going to play out.
and so I'm willing to, the court is willing to speculate that the four questions that we can make videos for, the four topics that need to be included are: one, is this going to cost me any money? Or is this going to cost me any money beyond my deductible? Question number one. Question number two: is this going to affect my insurance rates? Is filing a claim, whether damage is found or not, going to affect my insurance premiums? Um, Number three: how are we different? And I think this is the moment to explain the non-commissioned customer service people versus a commissioned salesperson. That whole discussion. Um, and I guess number four: is this a scam? Which is a tricky video to make because any marketing that's coming at you, that is finding you, it could be the most beneficial product in the world. We, as people living in the United States, have learned to raise an eyebrow at all advertising, wherever it may find us. And that's the big challenge here. But I think it's tough to lead with that language of, is this a scam? But sort of, how does this work? Why am I not paying any money? What is the overall process here? Is number four. And that said, I think these can adjust, these can move around, but we'll be pretty close with these four. At least one or all of them, maybe a few additional. These will be the pieces that they want to dive into.
Okay,
So,
I have a little bit of a different approach. I would like to add more questions to this list. Um, and tackle it as, this isn't like the most important thing you have to hear. I would like to tackle it as, this is like a handful of questions that a lot of people ask. And in this short video, we're going to just answer through all of them. And as we answer them, we exhibit the qualities that you're looking for in the conversation versus telling you, like, we're not scammy, or we, treat you respectfully. Like the way that we can actually give them these FAQs in a video form, if we can show it instead of saying it, then that part doesn't have to be used as a question.
I liked your idea. You kind of went past it quickly, but to have Exhibit sort of be the face of some of these videos, I think is a cool opportunity. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, like it worked out really great for what was it?
Pimp my ride.
Hit my ride. Yeah.
Yeah, sort of like pimp my storm damage.
Yeah.
This is
I
this
mean,
is
a B-list celebrity wouldn't be a bad suggestion in this case. Like, it's definitely something I think I'm going to throw out there.
Yeah. So So this is how I want to, and stop me if I'm going in the wrong direction,
Yeah.
as our friendship is budding and we're figuring out how to work together better and better. I'm looking at these questions, and at a point, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be questions, and I think if there's a question we've
Mm-hmm.
missed, it would be a waste of time to sit here trying to come up with every question that we need to ask or analyzing which questions should be answered in what order. I think the big obstacle here is, let's say these are the questions. The court will speculate. And so
You're such a producer. You want to get this film made before the script's even finished.
what
Come
I want to
on, get some asses in the seats. We're gonna make pictures.
what I want to what I want to do is come back to the client and say, B-list celebrity, more likely D-list, uh, Carol Queen of Carpets, or Becky Queen of Carpets, excuse me.
Dude,
I
she's
mean,
looking fine.
she's flying over the city anyway. She can see that roof damage. She's up there
Yeah.
on the carpet. It's fine. But to say, okay, we could do an animated explainer video. That's one video explaining all these things and answering some questions. We could do a fake house visit that's very understanding with a voiceover. I think that's the bigger obstacle here is, regardless of the information, regardless of the script that you writers worry about, regardless of that, what image.
How can you say regardless of it? Like just that phrase right there terrifies me. Regardless of the script.
I'm saying, if the question is this going to raise my insurance rates? Or if we find out, no, people aren't going to ask that question. They're going to ask, is the client going to, or is the customer going to be there
That
on,
could totally change the entire approach of the video.
right? But let's assume both and say, what does this look like? What is this?
Okay.
Because if we're talking about, if we think the best way to do this is a text on screen with voiceover and an easy animation showing you, insurance company, and them as the go-between, once we have that image to say, okay, well, now it's going to be easy to put these things in that world. Versus if we say we've got a B-list celebrity, how do we present this information through that?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna put more. Okay. Okay. Hold on. So you want to be prepared to give the client something. That's what we're getting at. You want to have something in mind. You want to move forward. You want to have something sculpted, and you want to present it to them. Things can change and things can be adjusted, but you're not looking to just stay at ground zero. Like you want to get to a base camp.
Very much. I
Okay.
I want to I want to say we think the best way to climb this mountain is in this Jeep. And if you think it should be 2 seats or 4 seats, if you think it needs air conditioning, if you think it should be leather or cloth, whatever that is, like, the contents may change, but the best way to approach, or not the best way, but one plausible way to approach this customer is with videos that look like this, and this would be how we shoot those and produce those.
Yeah.
And I think they will have a good idea of what would resonate, or what would fit with their brand. Where I think using the B-list celebrity idea, if we came at them and said, we think having Becky Queen of Carpets explain these
It's not
things.
plural, just Becky Queen of Carpet.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not Becky Queen of Carpets. Like I'm queen of all the carpets. It's Becky Queen of Carpet,
But
the
it's a double
material.
plural, like fishes.
Yeah. It's not a carpet, it's carpet.
But if you've got like low pile, high pile,
Well, yeah, but
if you've
here's the
got,
thing. Carpet is is uh is referring to all carpet, where carpets is like a stack of 10 carpets in the
you're
corner.
talking about people versus persons.
Yeah.
Becky Queen of People, and I'm saying Becky Queen of Persons.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get Becky Queen of People. But what I'm saying is, if we come to them and say we think an effective way to get this across to them is with one of these three things: either animated videos, a dramatization with voiceover, or an in-person B, C, or D list celebrity walking you through what to expect. That's going to be the most useful way. And then that's something that they can say, actually, we like this, and that could work with us. We like using the celebrity, or we like the animated stuff because it gives us opportunities to switch the script up later. If we're doing an animated voiceover, we'll get the animation. If we decide we want to change this later, we can very easily. They may want that flexibility. That's, I think, the bigger obstacle here. And once we understand we want this to be a house visit, we want this to be whatever visually, then we can say, okay, well, do we want to split this up into 5 separate things? Does this make sense to have, if we've got them watching Exhibit and Becky, Queen of Carpeting, on over the city, if we've got their attention, let's put it all in one video rather than make them watch 5 videos or click through, as where an explainer video might want to be broken into pieces and let people sort of choose their own adventure. So that's why I'm putting that visual piece first, because
Yeah.
I think that informs what's going to fit into it. And that's the tough question. Again, that's where we don't know is what resonates with a 35 plus person who's gotten 10 of these flyers in the mail and got a text that says, click here to watch a video to learn more.
So I think that I agree with you, but I'm still at an earlier stage. And the reason why is because I do not like to put a business I do not like to put the pressure of a business on me. Now that is not being a coward, that's being
I don't
I
understand
think
what you mean. Put the
I
pressure
think
of a
that's being
business on
smart.
you.
So the pressure of the business will be on me if I'm making these decisions for the client. And if I start making these decisions too soon, I can easily, like, I mean, Sean, you're a charismatic guy. Like, you can sell them on a lot of different experiences or videos where they're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's really cool, or that's high production, or whatever it is. And what we want to do is we want to drill down even further. Okay, we want to do this, this, and that's it. And we know our customers are going to be affected by this for part one, this for part two, and this for part three. And then we present to them, this is how we think that you could best do that. And it's always helping them hit their agenda, not coming up with something for them. Now, we will be instrumental in helping them figure that out by asking the questions, and then asking questions of, are you sure? And then asking the additional questions and making them think. Like, how many times in the first meeting that we had with this client did they say, that's a good question, we should think about that? Or, yeah, okay, maybe that needs to come first. Like, we were just barely scratching the surface with that. So I think that once we get a confirmation for them about these, we do like the FAQ approach. We do think it needs to be those 3 that you just said. And we do think that these are the answers to those 3 questions. Like, you have our 100% support in this. Then we are only tasked with meeting that objective. We're not tasked with coming up with a solution for their entire company. It gives them ownership too. It's their baby. It's their project. They were the ones on that whiteboard, their team, to trying to figure out, how do we tell the story? What separates us? What makes us different? We are now coming in as a support to say, if you think that is true, if that's what you want to communicate, then we know the visual medium, we know the editing, we know, a way that we can get through with those. And there's not going to be any question about the success of this video based on the objective. We'll see, hopefully, if they're right and we're right, then the success is clearly shown with another metric, um, sales or customer retention or whatever. But if we go just a little bit slower, we can get that locked in. They can own it, and then we can be their supporters rather than doing everything for them.
Yes, I have a thought, but
Go
my
for it.
dog is going to bite my face if I don't let her out of this room. Stand by one moment and
No problem.
tell a quick story about how you picked out the glasses that you choose to wear.
Okay. So these are Ray-Bans. I had these maybe like 5 years ago, and then I switched to the big ones with the metal frames, and they were a little too. I couldn't tell if they were too hip or if they literally made me look like a some kind of like child molester. So I didn't
That's
I
hilarious.
didn't I
So,
didn't wear them. I went back to these. So this is my second pair of these originals.
glasses are an interesting thing.
Yeah,
Um, so I don't want to classify my approach as the doing things fast versus doing things right. But I hear that in what I'm going to say. And I think when we met with a client, there were a lot of questions that they didn't know the answers to. And I think a lot of questions that no one can know the answers to until we do something. And that's
sure.
where I think some of the stuff, I got the impression from them that they want to go. They want to do stuff. They don't. I think we could spend months poring over this and coming up with a strategy and shepherding them through the process of identifying the pain points and doing market research. And I think for them, spending the salary for 2 months to brainstorm this, let's say that that's $10,000 versus sending us on our way to say, here's 10 grand, let's try something. Let's do some of this and answer these questions and get some data to say, hey, these explainer videos went over huge, and this one in particular got so many views and people kept clicking on that. That's the one that got shared. Or we can say, hey, these animated clip art things, people just that you can see after 10 seconds they clicked away, if that. And I think what I'm afraid of is we take weeks to figure this out and to get down to these questions and then come up with this strategy, and then it doesn't work. And
Yeah.
then we're
Okay.
saying, okay,
Well,
well, we
then
just spent 3 months and a whole bunch of money trying one thing that didn't work, and now we're starting over.
then and I agree with that. I definitely wouldn't want to stretch it out, but I would want them to say it back to us. This is what we want. These are the questions. This is the right content. This is the right objective. Go. And then we can go as fast as as we can. That's no problem. So I would say I agree with you. If we can maybe brainstorm a couple ideas, but mostly try to figure out, can we pitch to them a consolidated like package of objectives and just get them to sign off on it first, then say, okay, well, that being said, we have a few different approaches for that.
What is an example of one of those objectives, whether it's
Okay.
accurate or not?
So one would be, so I would challenge that they didn't really ask um, the question, what's the question that what are the questions that people should be asking? They did kind of when they said, like, did you know that It doesn't cost you anything to have us inspect it. Um, and that's actually what it is. It's more of a did you know? So we have FAQs, which are the ones that they are writing in Google and asking. They're the ones asking their friends about. And then we have did you know, which is the stuff they didn't ask. But is it compelling enough to be like, oh, wait, I didn't know that my rates get raised regardless of if I filed a claim or not? And the same as my neighbor who did file a claim and got a new roof out of it. Wow, that is interesting. And so I want to have a list of all those and have them look at it again and just be like, yeah, it's really these two are really the biggest drivers. That's the most important thing. Everything else is kind of like, man, just we'll put it in the FAQs or whatever. And for them to actually see it and say it themselves out loud, they will know, like it will resonate with them or not. Um, what's another example? Another example would be, you know, this was our idea for the FAQs. Do they resonate with it 100%? Like we asked them the question, but do they know we're actually proposing a video series to handle customer FAQs? Um, are they going to be like, no, that's not really what we want. We want it to be more about customer service, even though you and I have already brainstormed through that, and we don't think that that is the first thing that they should lead with. The 35 to 55-year-old demographic is kind of interesting. Um, and maybe we need to think through that a little bit more, but that'll come later. Um, what I
For
wrote
me,
here.
that just gives us permission to use video.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like
And
if it
then,
were over that age, if it's 70-year-olds, nothing against 70-year-olds, but the the convenience of like texting them a link that they can click to watch a video might be an uphill battle.
yeah. Um, and then the C-list celebrity or whatever. That, I mean, I don't even know if they've even thought about that, but that is just, that's something that works with other services similar to theirs that have a lot of competition and a lot of noise, and it's more about like the car insurance, just wanting to be the one that is in people's minds.
I'm the one who wants to repair
Be
your
with
roof.
you. Oh,
Um,
sorry.
no, I think I'm glad I don't. That came from me making a joke that you used the word exhibit, um, but but I like it. And to me, again, where I keep skipping to is like even if we have the exact information someone needs, at the end of the day, they are being sent a link, and they're going to click on that link, hopefully, and watch a video. And what is the opening image of that video that would make them watch the second image of that video? And I think having a B-list celebrity, a C-list or a D-list celebrity gets that recognition. Like rather than who is this dude, who is this spokesperson, who is this hi, I'm an average consumer just like you. Like that's going to get shut off, but if we can get exhibit, then
I I think nothing
then
is off the table.
yeah, I like this more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
I wrote in our notes an auctioneer. I
Nice.
think looking at our other notes about transparency is important and wanting to be respectful of someone's time because ultimately this is about the customer.
Yeah.
And if we could really quickly say, hey, we know this is important and we don't want to waste much of your time. Did you know that your insurance rates could go up whether or not you file a claim after there's storm damage in your neighborhood? So it makes sense to have a claim filed potentially if you have damage. If somebody can say
Yeah.
that in 2 seconds, Bob had a baby, eats a boy?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, that was a commercial for Collect Calls, I think. Way back in the day where some guy's like, I'd like to place a collect call. They're like, who's the name? The guy's like, it's Bob, had a baby, eats a boy. And the
Oh, I
phone
do remember that
guy
commercial. And they're
rings
like, and they
and he's
don't
like,
use
no,
the
it's the wrong
collect.
number. And he
Yeah, they
hangs
don't
up.
pay the collect call. And he's like,
Yeah.
he had a boy.
It's like, no, sorry, wrong number. Who was that? It was Bob. He had a baby. It's a
Yeah,
boy.
they're just saving money on collect
Yeah.
calls. Yeah. Um, yeah, absolutely. Okay, I know we're taking this a little bit of a non-linear approach, but let me talk about something else. So there's definitely a temptation, I think, with them when they're talking about everybody else around them that's scammy. And it's like I said, it's tempting, but I think that you and I should get on the same page on how, like, when we talk to them, there's certain things we're just going to be like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Or let's try that. Or, yeah, that's an outside the box idea. We don't really want to, squash the creative energy, but we might want to agree in some areas to suggest a little bit of protection for them. And one of those is not just bad mouthing other companies, but actually keeping the language of scam and stuff like that away from the content completely. Just because, even though you're saying, oh no, we're saying we aren't scammers. Like, remember when you and I were at the props house and we were going up the stairs and you had Luca in the baby carrier, and I go, don't worry, this staircase is very sturdy. And you just stopped and you looked at me and you go, I hadn't questioned it until you started using phrases like, it's very sturdy. Shouldn't that uh, instill some kind of like faith in the product when I say that? No, it actually just put two words together. So I think that we should probably, if we can, stay away from that and talk about our positives
Yeah.
more than other people's negatives.
It's like the sandwich I made you is real tuna.
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Well, just in case I wasn't, but now I am.
I'm not, I'm not gonna murder you. What a weird thing to say. Yeah, I get that. Um, and I think there's not enough of a difference between our client and the competition that separates this from being a scam because they make their money in the same way. It's not like the other companies are
Right.
as much of a scam as our client is, if you want to call it a scam, where they help shepherd you through a process. I think, as I'm trying to think about how do we explain the difference between the non-commission model and what everyone else is doing, the commission model, is by doing I didn't want to do a side by side, but sort of showing when our customer service people get paid compared to the competition. And like as soon as you shake that hand on day one with the other people, they're paid. They're
Yeah.
done. And our people don't get paid until the job is complete with the right materials and it's cleaned up. And there's not nails left all over your yard. There's not a mess. And when that's done right, that's when the money is essentially unlocked. It's not, but that's when the job is considered done.
Yeah.
And I think that's trying to simplify it, trying to boil it down to like the part we care about is not the beginning part, it's the end part because that's what we're all about. It's hard to try to have a company that does the right thing when the assumption is that in this world your company's going to try to get away with as much as it possibly can. It's a weird
Yeah.
that's just an aside
You
that we all
but
struggle
you
with.
you got to think of it not as a company. You got to think of it as an individual, you know? Like you don't walk up to a stranger and introduce yourself and say, "Hey, just want you to know I'm a real trustworthy person," you know? You do something that's trustworthy. You are um you're consistent in that behavior. You are warm. Um, you're identifying with them or aligning with them a lot. That builds trust pretty quickly to know, like, hey, I have a feeling, I'm the host of this party and I have a feeling that you might be a little bit uncomfortable. Can I get you a seat or maybe a drink to loosen up or whatever it is? Like, thinking not for people, but thinking ahead of them, in honor of them. That's something that you can do as a company in making these videos. And hopefully it will be attractive to somebody that's in this situation, that's like, okay, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do about the roof. Oh wow, I'm really drawn to this type of video because I just feel a little bit safer with them. CarMax, I know we've been talking a lot about cars. CarMax does a great job at this, and it's very applicable because they are also non-commission based. So they went into it. I think their first advertising campaign was like trashing the dealerships, and now it's not about avoiding the sharks. It's about just hanging out with people that you can trust you know and it took them a while to figure that out, but I think it's actually, like I said, pretty applicable to us.
Yeah, I'm
All
just
that to
thinking about
say, what are we gonna where should we go from here? Do you want us, like, what do you want to get done tonight, I guess, is the big question, and we can make that happen.
I think going back to them with here are the 5, 6, whatever number of topics that we think need to be covered in these videos. The FAQs, the did you knows, all of them combined. Like this is the information we think is going to be important to somebody making this decision.
Is there anything missing?
Is there anything missing? And then also, as we nail that down, here are the 3 ways we're thinking we could present that information.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, so then let's talk about a few. Um, and as we do it, we also have to kind of anticipate their responses as well. One of them, one of the ways we can do it is quick and dirty. Quick and dirty has been extremely successful within the last 5 years. Extremely successful. The less production, the more people think that they are just getting the message. They're just receiving a message. They're not receiving a big overproduced marketing scam, whatever it is. Like, just tell me, hey, your name is Jeff and you're here to fix my roof. Great, got it. I trust you. Versus the Clydesdales from Budweiser or something. It's like, okay, there's just a big disconnect. But because this is a little bit of an older crowd, the 35 to 55, we don't necessarily have to lean on that as much. And since they have asked us, the client has asked us to do something that's very polished and professional, because this is also helping their brand image, not just getting it done, then we should probably maybe not do it the quick and dirty, and maybe know that this isn't going to like a super young crowd. This is going to people that are going to respect a well polished video. So maybe we should kind of stick to that. It doesn't have to be super expensive and crazy, but it should have a polish to it.
I like that.
You agree?
Yeah. I you made me think of Jake from State Farm, and there was a person before that always bothered me. There was a series of commercials where it's like, "Hey, we're here," like, it was so personable, and I'm like, "Who are you?" Like, I'm creeped out by you. I don't know who you are, and you're acting like I should, and I should listen to you, and you've done nothing to establish trust, and that is weird to me. But it was a polished version of the Quick and Dirty. It was Quick and Dirty with a budget of several $100,000, I'm sure. But for my age range, I'm in the demo. It didn't didn't care
Didn't
for me.
hit.
No.
Yeah. You know what I like about the State Farm commercials, the newer ones, with the guy that is just like getting just heaps of gratitude laid upon him everywhere he goes, right? He's like, no, 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 no. Everybody gets the same rate. They're like, no, I know you gave me the best rate ever. It's the one where he goes to somebody's house and or no, no, I'm sorry. Somebody comes to his house and they're delivering pizza.
Pizzas, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they give him the pizza and then they give him a giant jug of ranch. It's just a jug of ranch. And I'm just like, this is brilliant. This is like that kind of watching that kind of generosity of like, hey, you didn't ask for this, but we all know you want it. Here's I want to
We
make
won't make you
sure
ask.
I'm gonna make sure you get what you want and you don't have to ask. Boom. You're welcome. And he's just standing there like, um,
Now I kind of want chicken wings.
yeah. Ooh, that sounds good. I'm going to Top Gun tonight.
Nice.
Stoked.
I hear good things.
Okay. Yeah,
In
go
our
ahead.
document here, we've
Yeah.
got uh, you wrote down these 5 things. Well, 3 things, 4 things, and then 2 ideas. So I wanted to split these into the
Yeah.
FAQs / the did you knows.
Good idea. Okay. So let's do that right now. So let's do FAQ.
Is this going to cost any money? Is this going to affect my insurance rates? And then I think the
This is
did you
not
knows.
necessarily a question. Um, I'm gonna leave this one on there. Is this a scam? Even though we don't want to ask that because it still might be something that people are asking, so we can
Yeah, I think
figure
more
out
of
a
a
way
how
to.
does this work?
Yeah, let's do
If
that.
it does, if we're not paying you, who is? Why is this happening?
Okay. Well, any other questions that they have in this email here? Let's see. Um, can I pick my can I pick my colors? What are they basically saying there? Will they pay for all my siding? And can I pick my colors? Do I have choices in colors or materials? Um, and then what was the first question? Okay, and the first one was a question. Okay, so right now for FAQs, yeah. Is this going to cost me any money beyond my deductible? Is this going to affect my insurance rates? Is this a scam? How does this work? How does this process work? Do I have choices in
Colors and
colors
materials.
or materials? What other questions can we kind of assume based on our conversation with the client and this email? And then
Um,
I'll do the did you knows.
yeah, I don't think there's anything else in the. I mean, people are just worried about the money.
Okay. So the did you know would be that your insurance rates will increase annually whether you file a claim or not. What's the other one? Did you know that?
You're my hero. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yes.
Um,
Um,
I'm gonna share this
the
screen
screen. Sure.
window. So yeah, we're splitting these up into the 5 FAQs and then these sort of did you knows. Um,
Did you know that insurance companies will not penalize you for a valid claim? Do you know that? Did you know that most storm repair companies are commission based?
yeah.
They might even not even know that, Not us. Did you know that hail damage is impossible
Impossible
to
to detect
see?
from the ground. Yeah. And I
Did you
think the
know
last one
that
is
probably something about untreated or what's the word I'm looking for? If you
unaddressed.
unaddressed can cause major, thank you, um, issues in the future without that you'll be responsible for. Okay. What was the other one that you had?
Sorry about that. One of these ended in
No.
a preposition.
Perfect.
I was just going to say the last did you know to me is did you know that we're going to be there every step of the way? We're not going to hand this off. Did you know that we love you? And we're going to
Yeah.
become
Okay. Okay.
become
So
friends.
so some of these have a little bit of crossover. Like, how does this process work? We'll be including a lot of that in that FAQ. But yep, I'll be ready. Um, but also, I think it's good to put down there. So go ahead and write that under "Did you know?" in your own
Yeah.
words.
So I think that's a decent list to come back to them with.
Yeah. Okay. I agree.
I think the
And
last piece is how does it look?
yeah. Okay. So B-list celebrity, and these are obviously general concepts, so nothing nailed
Yeah.
down. Auctioneer. Do you really want? Is that really an idea you want to do? I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it. I just want to know if it's something that you really want.
Is you serious about this?
Yeah.
You're gonna walk into a room and say that? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine
I,
with me. I love it.
hey,
I mean, I love it.
if you say you like it, I'm gonna invest. I'm gonna fully explore it.
I think it'd be worth mentioning to them because I think it's one of the only ways I can think of off the top of my head to quickly get the information across in a way that would be entertaining and respectful at the same, like, essentially saying like, we don't want to waste your time, so we're going to say this really, really fast. Did you know that everyone else charges on commission? We don't do that. We stick with you through the process, and
Okay.
our people don't make money. Like, I think having an auctioneer would
The
be, I
oh,
mean, that's essentially a B-list celebrity approach. We're putting someone here who's going to explain it, but it's more about what they are more than it is who they are.
okay. I just changed it so the objective or the approach is the topic instead of like it has
Yes.
to be an auctioneer. Okay, so then we can do just a voiceover with reenactments.
I think we do voiceover with uh, simple animation.
So, animation. Um, we can get um, customer testimony.
Yeah. Jesse was saying to me, I was asking her, like, what is going to make this company stand out? And she goes, whenever stuff like this happens, the first thing she does is check the reviews and, like, ask on a social site, like, does this, has anyone used this company? Has anyone heard of these people before? Has anyone had an experience? And that, more than anything, is what's going to make her decision. And so I think showing those testimonials and picking a few of them, but then also, I mean, we can't do it right away because I don't think the data's there, but to say, look, our Google rating has 1,000 reviews and it's 4.7 stars. And I think showing that trend in the reviews is powerful more than having, I'm Lisa B from Charlotte and I had a great experience.
Yeah.
But pulling some of those things out and showing the volume of them.
Okay. So B-list celebrity, getting the information across as quickly as possible, voiceover with reenactments, voiceover with simple animation, customer testimonial, and then I guess this would be more of
I think it's
this
part
would
of customer. I think it's like customer
yeah,
testimonials slash, yeah.
yeah, okay.
And I
And
think
then
that
we
could be
can
done with a mostly on screen voiceover. Like we'd be using screenshots and reading them and saying, check out, and showing the Google reviews, showing the Yelp page, whatever it is, Better Business Bureau, all of it.
yeah. Um okay, and then a friendly uh employee explaining how it works.
I added some quotes around employee.
Cool. Okay, so based on those, like they all have other variations within them as well. So like let's say they're like, "Oh no, we really want a friendly person in a polo and khakis talking about how the process works because, we're going to use that in some of the other uh, videos as well." Okay, we can do that. Then we give them a few pitches on how to do that video. Is it first person? Is it them seated explaining those FAQs? Is it a little bit more lighthearted and silly? So all these I'm comfortable with being general enough categories that we get them to sign off on these objectives, which are in the form of FAQs and did you knows, and then we give them a quick thing to see if any of these resonate with them the
Yeah.
most, and we go from
No,
there.
these are jumping off points to be sure.
Yeah. Okay, I feel good about this.
And I think what they'll have a ton of experience with that it's, I would say, impossible for us to do the research is what does the receiving end of this look like? What are, like, I can't Google roofing flyers, um, but they're going to know, like, here's the marketing materials that we typically see alongside ours. Here's the sort of junk that goes out every time a storm hits. And sort of working from that a little bit might be helpful.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think this is a jumping off point and a good one.
Okay, cool. And then I'll also want to just be real specific in talking to them about saying like, hey, this is not the creative pitch here. This is just making sure that we're aligned and we have a few general ideas to jump off from, and then we can actually
Yeah, we
give you
don't
a
want to
little bit more
book
creative.
exhibit before. Yeah, we don't want to put the pimped out minivan before the horse,
Exactly. And we
so
don't
to
we don't
speak.
want them to think, okay, they came to us with this idea and their idea is get a B-list celebrity. Great job, guys.
glad we found you.
What would we have ever done
You said
without Sean and
voiceover,
Sean?
voiceover. Let me get this right. Voiceover.
I don't want my
Okay,
voice to be
thanks.
over.
It's a turn of phrase. How do you turn a phrase?
Okay, cool. Anything else that we need to talk about on this topic before an email and another quick meeting? We can do video. We can do it as soon as you want.
Yeah, I think this is enough. I'm gonna put this into a pretty looking email and shoot it your way before I send it their way.
Okay.
Uh, and then yeah, and I think I'm gonna switch our golf location on Sunday
To what?
to the other course in Forest Park, probably.
Is it easier?
Uh, they're about the same easy.
Okay, well
The other
then,
one's a bit
what the
nicer.
fuck do I care?
Excuse me. We are on a live stream, and now we have. Oh,
Is
jeez.
this the first time we've cursed in the entire stream?
Can I dump the audio? Can I? Oh no.
It's live.
Wait, is this?
Sorry.
No, that's just playing bad music. That's not gonna
Okay,
do it.
I'm gonna go to Top Gun. I'll see ya.
Have
You're
fun.
awesome. You're
Thanks for
awesome.
hanging out.
Bye.
Thanks for
Yep.
watching, people. See ya. Have a
Yep.
good